survey in the chat function. And we would really love if just before you leave, if you could just take a minute before to fill out a short survey. It's only 2 questions, and we would really, really appreciate the feedback. Okay, so now before I hand it over to Dre, let me just properly introduce our guest. Dre Pao is a food content creator and digital strategist from Ontario. He's best known for his TikTok presence, where he has built a community of over 200,000 followers. He's created content for some of our top brands in the world, including KFC, Tabasco sauce, Beaver Tails, Sabra, and many more. So we know TikTok is booming, and brands all over the globe are finding success in building their business through a growing presence on that platform. So Dre, I'm going to pass it over to you now to take us through how you grew your success on TikTok and how brands can do it too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Randy. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to be here. Thank you to CHFA for the opportunity to present. Let's move on to the next slide. I know Randy kind of gave me a full intro of my bio, but I guess the one thing I want to touch upon is that I've been on TikTok for just over 4 years, and I've seen how much it's grown and evolved. Back when I started, it was basically just dominated by 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds lip syncing, and it's really come a long way. So I'm really excited to share some of the strategies that I used to build my following. And I think it's really important to note for this presentation that we titled it How to Build a Community on TikTok and not How to Go Viral on TikTok. As someone who has gone viral, I know there was a lot of great things that come with it, but also in terms of building a community that actually cares, that short-term virality is something that is just kind of a little thing in the grand scheme of things. So let's move on to the next slide, and that'll kind of first just give you a little bit of a preview of some of the work I've done. I don't want to talk too much about myself. I'll show you some samples, and then I'd love to move on giving you guys a preview of what we're about to talk about today. So I'm not getting audio on my end. I don't know if anyone else is.
Are you having trouble with audio?
Do you hear the audio on your end?
I do. Can anybody else? Oh, yeah, they can.
Everyone can hear? Okay, don't worry. As long as I can hear, that's all that matters.
Okay, I'll continue with the second one. Oh,
yeah. Let's play the second one, and then I'll just move on with it.
All right. Oh. Oh, geez. No audio either.
Will the second video play?
Well, I'm seeing that there's some no audio happening. I'm so sorry, everyone.
No worries, it's all right. If we can't get the audio, we can just kind of get the overview of the visuals, and that's totally cool. We'll still be able to kind of get the gist of the video.
Bye.
So I guess I'll give you guys kind of an instruction if you can't hear the audio of what we were thinking behind these videos. Just quickly, this is a video right now that you're seeing that's currently running for KFC about the experience of the first bite. The one previously that you watched was a video about Sabra. I only have about 35 minutes, so I'd love to move on and give you guys as much value as possible. And we'll get into stuff about my content at the end if you have any questions. So what you're seeing here is kind of an overview about what we're going to be discussing. And since I was only given a short period of time, I wanted to think of what I could give the most value for everybody watching. And my goal is today that everyone watching, whether you're completely new on TikTok or you've been here for a few years, that you'll be able to leave this presentation knowing what you can post so that there is consistency on your platform and that it's not just repetitious, it's also entertaining for the people watching. So let's begin with the first slide. This is basically like TikTok 101. If you're completely new about TikTok, maybe some of your fellow people on your team have been saying, hey, this is a really big platform that we should be on. these kind of slides are for you to solidify that, hey, this TikTok thing is for real. So, like I mentioned, when I first started on TikTok, it was 16-year-olds, it was 12-year-olds just making content. It's come a long way from that. 50% of TikTok users are now over the age of 35, and it's become a mature platform where it's more than just dancing. It's become education. It's become a platform for searchability. It's overtaken Google as the most visited web domain. And now when you're searching, even on Google, if you Google my name, for example, the first thing that comes up is your TikTok videos, at least for myself. And the difference between TikTok is right now when you Google, there's a lot of ads, there's a lot of different information, whereas TikTok is a lot more to the point, and I feel like it gets a little bit out of the weeds and gives people a direct representation of what you are in video form. A big thing for TikTok, if we can just go back to that slide, a big thing for TikTok is its organic reach. The organic reach for TikTok right now, besides LinkedIn, it's the only platform where you can have little to no following, and you can potentially have a video that reaches hundreds of thousands or millions of people. There's over 1 billion plus active users on the platform, and essentially it is the number one place for building an organic community. To solidify things, I know there's a lot of people who have asked me, what happens if TikTok goes away? What happens if the US government or Canada shuts down this platform? Then what do we do with all of this content? And I think the fact that Instagram has made its reels, YouTube has made its shorts, is a clear sign, which if you're not familiar with those are kind of their TikTok copycats. It's a clear sign that this new style of TikTok video creation is the new style of social media video creation. We'll talk about the importance of reposting to these platforms, but I think that should comfort those people that, hey, if TikTok does go away, this new style of video content is here to stay, and these platforms, Instagram and YouTube, are a great place to also be posting this content. So beginning with the basics of actual content creation, I think a big thing for me to reiterate is don't get distracted. There's a lot of TikTok gurus who would start this presentation and show you, hey, this is a client I worked with for 3 months and they got millions of followers and TikTok is so easy. I really want to get rid of that narrative because I feel like there's a lot of people who have painted this picture that TikTok is this easy place that everyone's just going to come to. We're all going to blow up and make millions of dollars. And of course, it has great opportunity and the most organic reach right now for social media. It is still something that's going to take you consistent time. It's going to, for the most part, for everyone here, it's going to take some time for you to grow a following and build a community that actually cares. And remember that one viral video or 10 viral videos isn't going to lead to that actual community that cares. Of course, it helps, but essentially it's just one brick at a time that's really helping with. So what we're going to break down in this presentation is going to help you actually build that community. A big thing is that patience and reminding yourselves that if you don't have the money to invest in a team, you need to make time. And what we're going to be presenting today is hopefully going to help those who don't have any money to invest in marketing. If you are a founder and you're like, hey, I'm going to take the jump and create content, this is stuff that you can do yourself as well. And it's not super, intimidating. It's very easy to do. And the best thing about TikTok is you don't have to have this over the top budget and fancy camera equipment. It's something you can film with your phone. Going over the most common questions I get, quality or quantity is a real big one. I recently actually had a client say to me, hey, we really want to start focusing on quality. And the thing about quality is the thing that decides the quality on TikTok is the algorithm and the audience that's watching. It's like I said, it's not like, hey, we could say, okay, well, you want to go quality, we're going to invest in $10,000 worth of equipment, and that's going to solve all your problems. The algorithm is essentially, and the audience is what's going to decide what is quality, and that's always changing. And that's why I'm always recommending, hey, the more at-bats you have, the more that you can post, the more at-bats and chances you have to potentially get your stuff seen by some of the audiences on TikTok. There is no oversaturating TikTok. You can post as much as you would like. I do say if you want to compete at a high level, posting once a day is kind of the bare minimum. When I was building my following, I was posting as much as 5 to 7 times a day, and that's where my following really grew. Don't feel like you have to do that as a brand, but I think at least if you're completely brand new, starting at once a day is a great place to start. And the more you can grow, the better. Being a voice for your industry, this is something I know I'm going to repeat throughout this presentation, but the days of just bombarding people with ads, I don't know if that was ever a great idea, but it's definitely not a great idea here on TikTok. You want to be a voice for your industry on your TikTok page. You want to show people that you care more about selling your product. And it's funny that the less you sell on TikTok, it ends up leading to more sales in the long term. So just reminding yourselves that, hey, we're not going to be pushing our products over and over again on our profiles. And we can move to the next slide. So next, we're going to talk about actual segments, and these are the main things that make up your TikTok profile. So first, think of your TikTok profile as a mini TV station. Your profile is a TV station, and these little TikTok videos are different shows or segments that are going to help incentivize people to return to your page. So instead of just sporadically creating random content, which of course has its place, that's where we'll talk in a minute about the 10% trends. You want to think of different segments that you can continuously make that give people a reason to want to follow you and learn from your profile. After this, I'm going to be breaking down what those 4 segments could be, and they'll give you a number of ideas so you guys basically don't run out of different content to create. Testing is insanely important. What is currently trending on TikTok today will be different tomorrow. It will be different next week. And that's why I have the 10%, the trends being at 10%. These trends are going to come and go. And if you spend all of your time and all of your money on chasing those trends, it's going to be exhausting. And at the end, it's not going to build a real community. So that's why I say 50% segments where you're educating your audience, where you're bringing them value. And then the other 40% is testing. And that's where you're trying out different things and you're looking at it in the macro sense as you're testing. A big problem that people have is I feel like they test 1 or 2 concepts and they say, hey, this isn't working, what's going on? I like to think when I'm starting off with a new profile, I say, okay, we want to look at this as a 6-month overview and we want to test for 6 months. And after that 6 months, we're going to look at it and say, okay, this is working, let's do more of this. The algorithm is going to tell you what styles of content you should keep doing. And that it's going to tell you by giving you more organic reach. If your certain videos are getting more views on your profile than the others, then that's TikTok telling you, hey, do more of this. And that's what leads us to repeat and repackage. When it's telling you to do more of this, you want to get comfortable with keeping that same tone and repackaging it in a different way, changing around the text, maybe changing around the messaging, but overall packaging it quite similarly. And that's what we would call a segment. And moving on to the next slide, we'll go over what these different segments will look like and help you to get organized. And I'll show you some samples as well. So first you have the brand story showcase. So this is you showcasing how your brand got started, obstacles you overcame, struggles you went through, and lessons you learned. Always try and think, how can this be selfish for the audience? Even when you're telling your brand story, you want to give them something that they're gaining from the video. And often we love to begin these videos with something that has a little bit of shock value to it or something that's intriguing enough to make the audience want to keep on watching. The first video that we're going to play in a second is using a trending sound. This is from one of our clients, Good Food for Good. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the sound, but it's an instrumental that was trending at the time on TikTok. And what we did is we used existing footage and photos, and we timed it to the music, and we told the story of the brand using that trending sound. I believe it's like a 12-second, very quick video, but we had success with this video. And what I also recommend with this style and why it's great for brands is, especially for brands who aren't as comfortable for their founder to be on camera, maybe you just don't enjoy being on camera and being filmed, this is a great solution for you to tell your story without having to speak and without having to be on camera. So let's go ahead and play that. So again, this is telling the story of the brand, and it incorporates the obstacles they went through, but then it's plugging their product at the end. And I'm not against, promoting your product, but see how we lead with that struggle, and we're trying to connect to the audience through overcoming that struggle and then plugging, hey, this is the brand that we're promoting at the end. Next is our camera shy showcase, which I think is also very great for brands who are not quite comfortable with their founder being on camera. We have this is one of our clients as well, Comeback Snacks, and this is why we're always recommending, hey, if you don't feel comfortable going on camera, it's always great to have an on-camera brand representative to represent your brand on TikTok and also tell your story. It doesn't mean we don't have to show your face. For example, you'll see in this sample, the founder's face is in the video. The full story is being told, but it's also being told from the perspective of one of the brand representatives. And what I loved about this is we tested this style of video for 3 months. We had some bites. We had a video hit 5,000 here. We had it hit 10,000 there. But at the 3 month mark, we found a sweet spot with this video and it hit over 350,000 views. And again, the importance of the patience. And I'll let you guys watch it and then you can kind of see what we had in mind. So something that often when I'm showcasing TikTok videos to people who have never watched them or are not familiar with them, a common response I'll get is, "Oh, the text was too quick. Are you sure that, that this is right for telling our brand story?" And that's why that first 2 seconds, that first 3 seconds, which we call the hook, is so important. You want to create something where at that first 2 seconds, the image is clear, the message is clear, and it's enough to keep them intrigued to keep watching. TikTok will reward you with organic reach if people are watching your videos for the full length, and even more if they're repeat watching it. So by having that hook at the beginning capture their attention, even if this text is a little bit too quick that they can't fully digest it, you're hoping that the video is interesting enough for them to rewatch this video, which will in turn help reward your video with organic reach. I also want to note in this video, I don't know if you could see the text very clearly, but we actually made a spelling mistake in this video and we spelled across incorrectly. And for us, that was just something that we overlooked. It happens. Spelling mistakes happen, but this actually worked so much in our favor because everyone loves pointing out your mistakes in the comments. And the amount of engagement that this generated, and I believe really helped this video to grow, was incredible. And it's also a great lesson for not being overly obsessive with perfecting everything. It can be, a lot more of a relaxed vibe on TikTok. And I know that there's a lot of brands who may have saw that and said, hey, we should delete this right away, but we don't know for sure how much it would have impacted it. Sometimes a little mistake like that. I actually know some creators who do that on purpose because a lot of people viewing videos just can't help but engage with that. Next is keeping it simple. This is actually not one of our clients, but it's such a great example of keeping it simple. This is a founder from a brand called Poppy, and you can play it because you can't hear the sound. I'll just speak over as she's going through it, but it's such a great example because the founder did green screen on TikTok and she just told their brand story. She kept it simple, nothing fancy. I think why this worked so well also is she didn't just say, hey, look how fantastic our brand is, look at all the money that we raised, that sort of thing. She talked about what the brand does differently and how it can bring value to the people who are watching the video. So I think leading with the fact that there's some sort of culturally relevant topic, the fact that they were on Shark Tank really helped, but also the fact that people watched the video and felt like they learned something and got something out of it is a huge addition to that. And this video actually got over 26 million views. So it's just another example of you really don't have to be fancy in order to generate some attention on TikTok. Moving on to the next slide. Next, we have ingredient education. So if you're in this webinar, there's a really good chance that you're working with a food brand or you're the founder of a food brand, and talking about the different ingredients in your product is a great way to make content. And sometimes that doesn't even have to be promoting the product directly. You don't always have to say, hey, this is why we're doing this, and always showing up your product. Of course, it's great to reference your product, but try and think of, okay, how can we become a page where we're educating people about the different products that they're consuming, talking about, hey, maybe you didn't realize that in big brands big brands are using X and Y ingredients, and this is how it's affecting your health. And there's two different ways that we love to do this with some of our clients at Cross Group. Speaking showcases are a great way where you're directly talking about a specific ingredient and then breaking it down, and then at the end saying, and that's why we included this product. That's why we included this ingredient in our product. Let's go ahead and play that. One thing I want to note is we love to make sure that we're keeping the eyes entertained. Watch how the content creator in this video is jumping from close to the camera to far away to mid, which I feel is a great tactic to just keep the eyes entertained and keep people watching in the video. This sample specifically was a video we did for a brand called More Granola. And I thought it was a really great hook too, because again, those first 2 seconds are so important. And we led with granola companies are ripping you off. And right away, it's a sentence where some people are like, wait, what are you talking about? And of course, then we broke it down and said, hey, well, maybe you didn't realize how much sugar is actually in these products. And then talking about how it impacts your health and ending with, well, that's why we created this granola that's healthier for you, simple ingredients and less sugar. The next one is a trending sound. And what I want to showcase with these trending sound information videos is instead of chasing the trending sounds and trying to chase the trends, you can often use sounds that are trending and incorporate them into your videos, and not necessarily always following the trend, but you're still using the sound. This is a sample of we used a trending sound, but we were showcasing the different health benefits of coconuts. This is for one of our clients called Genius Juice, where they make a coconut smoothie. So for this video, it's just a video of one of our content creators going about her day, and with text, it's the different facts popping up on the screen. This is a really simple one for you to do. This is something as a founder, if you're going out for a coffee or just going about your day for a walk, you can film this super quickly, and it will help you to add content to your daily TikTok page. Moving on to the next slide. My favorite out of the 4 segments is these hacks, tips, and problem solving, because if you are a food brand, there's a good chance that you care about sustainability, you care about adding convenience to the day of your audience, you care about their health, you care about their general just overall well-being. So these videos are educating about that and not necessarily promoting the product, but having it as like a product placement. So there's 3 different ways we can do this. The first one is a general speaking hack. So this video will talk about, hey, you're juicing your lemons wrong, and it breaks down how you can make the most of the lemons. They're staying away from food waste, and overall just adding convenience and a hack to the daily lives of somebody. It's still promoting the product because it is kind of subtly in the background, but again, getting in the habit of making your audience look at your profile as, wow, this brand cares about us. They're really adding value to my daily life, and they'll associate this thing that you're adding to their daily life with your brand. And overall, it's a really important step to building a community. So we can play that. And again, that hook was, you're juicing your lemons all wrong. I think that's really important. Leading with something, letting people know that, hey, maybe you're making a mistake, maybe you're missing out on something, and then breaking it down for them. She adds to save the peels, hey, how you can make use of the peel so there's less waste. You can make a cleaner with the peel as well. And then letting them know, like, hey, follow for more sustainability tips. Instead of saying, hey, by the way, we make this product and you should buy it. Next, the trending sound is very similar to number 2. You can set up your phone. You can show the breakdown of the hack or the convenience that you're adding to your audience's life. And you can add a trending sound to it and go over the steps of this convenience hack using text. So we could play that second video as well. And also noticing, like, this isn't a fancy video. She set it up on a tripod. She didn't even speed up the clips. She just made them short and sweet. With the text, she outlined what was being done and what was being created. And then she added a sustainability hack at the end. Call to action for following as well is quite important. The next one is a great convenience hack. It's trying to save your audience money. Anything you can incorporate that adds some form of saving money or saving time is always a great addition to your TikTok page. We can play this one and I'll just kind of walk through it. But the video is kind of outlining how the average American spends $24.93 a week on lunches out, and just basically says, hey, eating organic doesn't have to be as expensive as you might think. And then the video breaks down, hey, you can buy this. She goes over 5 things, and in those 5 things is included the product of Good Food for Good, which is the brand that we're creating for in this video. And again, this is a great example of a lot of the content that we're creating. You want to make it feel human. Every time we're creating a piece of content, you want to humanize it, make it feel like it's just a regular person creating content that's incorporating your brand. Don't think of it as like, wow, we have to be really corporate. This has to look like, we shot it in a studio. That's really not the TikTok mindset. And we'll go over the TikTok mindset in a minute, but just keeping in mind that, again, this is a lot more less organized than, say, an Instagram or a Facebook video from the past. Moving on to number 4. So if you do have a food brand that you're working with, then there's a good chance you can make a tasty recipe with your product or incorporate it in some way. And recipes are a great way to get attention on TikTok, to add some convenience to people's lives, and just do something unique on your profile. It looks a little bit different. It breaks the profile up, and the overall aesthetic looks quite nice. But the one thing to note is that there is a ridiculous amount of people making recipe TikToks, and that's not a problem because there's different things you can do to help your videos stand out and be a little bit different. So first, there's the education and surprising fact. So if we can go ahead and play that. Oh, if you want, we could start in the middle. I think it kind of glitched out and played that first. Sorry about that. So while we're getting that organized, we'll start with a new spin on a trend. This is referencing that there are a lot of viral TikTok creators who create incredible recipes, and you can use this to your advantage by making your own spin on it. So if you see a trend, a viral recipe trend, you can do your own spin on it. This is a Baked by Melissa trend that was going around TikTok. We created this for one of our clients, Field and Farmer. And we took this trend and we said, hey, if you love this Baked by Melissa trend, but you want to make it a little bit faster and you don't want to make a mess as much in your kitchen, you can do this. And we showed them how you can break it down using Field and Farmer. So that's kind of using an existing trend to your advantage, making it a little bit different than just instructing people on how to cook something on TikTok. Next, there's the education and surprising fact. So this is a video about the benefits of eating watermelon, and we incorporated it in this drink that we used for one of our clients' turmeric teas. This was really a great video, especially because we led with watermelon. Did you know watermelon is nature's Viagra or something along those lines? And I think, again, keeping in mind, what can we do at the beginning of those first 2 seconds of the video that really hooks people in, and then break it down. So you're visually giving them the instructions on how to make the recipe, and then with sound, you're giving them added value by adding education and helping them learn about the health benefits of incorporating this into their diet. And then third, there's the healthier, famous version. So making a version of something like a Big Mac, or for this, we made a McRib, using culturally relevant brands that are very recognizable to people and that will be a thumb stopper for them by incorporating the name, and then incorporating your brand and doing something different. So for this video, we made a healthier version of the McRib. We used the Good Food for Good sauce, and then overall just made an easier way for people to make something. It was also a convenience aspect that we added. Hey, you can make this in 10 minutes. So we can move on to the next slide. So those are the four video concepts that you can create on a daily basis. If you have the time, you can create it on a weekly basis. There's enough stuff there that you can mix it up. You can try different styles, but if you're repeating that, it's enough to keep the audience entertained, to do things differently, to tell your brand story, but also bring audience value to them and give them an excuse to want to follow you and want to return, and also make them feel like you care about them. You're not just trying to sell a product, you're trying to build a family, a community of people who care about their health and care about healthy eating as well. Next, I'd love to talk about the biggest mistakes that brands make on TikTok. And I'm not going to go too in depth with these. I feel like a lot of them are self-explanatory, but I think keeping these in mind will really help you in your TikTok journey. Like I mentioned earlier, Instagram and Facebook, your Instagram and Facebook brain, this is completely different. TikTok is going out for a drink with your audience. It's having a coffee with your audience. It's a lot more relaxed. Don't feel so pressured that every single video needs to be perfect. The days of spending months on a video production and everything being just perfect before you put it out, this is not like that. You feel free to try things. If someone recommends an idea on your team, go with it, roll with it, feel free to try it out. Number two, I've said multiple times, you can't be too salesy. I've said that multiple times. I'm going to go to the next one. Number three, only posting UGC content on TikTok. I'm seeing this more and more, so I thought it was important to bring it up. UGC content is extremely valuable to adding a different dimension to your profile, but it's not a TikTok strategy. It doesn't give your own personality to your profile. So if you were thinking about, hey, maybe we should just hire a bunch of UGC creators and only post their content, that's not going to really create a community if we're just posting videos of different creators telling people how great your product is. I mentioned judging content too fast. I'm not sure if I'm doing all right for time, so I don't want to go into it too much, but give things time before you give up on it. Like I mentioned, we were with one of our clients, we were studying a different style of content for 3 months before we even saw any real results from it. Don't give up on these ideas. Take the 6-month trial to really analyze what's working and then break it down afterwards. And that doesn't mean you go viral after 6 months. It means after 6 months, there's enough data for you to understand what is working and what is not working and what you should do more of and what maybe you should stop. Reposting and repackaging content, I've touched upon. Feel free to repackage content. It's okay if things look similar. I've repeated it over and over again. So I'm going to go to number 6, which is watching too many TikTok gurus, which happens a lot. There's a ton of people making content telling you what you should and shouldn't post on TikTok. Take everything with a grain of salt, including the stuff I'm telling you here today. Only really understand what is working for you. You can only really understand what's working for you by trying it yourself. Take these ideas, take different ideas from people you see on TikTok and try it yourself. There's so much contradictory information on there that you can go crazy. So don't get overwhelmed by it. Get in the trenches with your own content creation and you'll really get a feel for what works for you. Number 7 is something that I feel like I talk about on a weekly basis with some of our clients. So I really wanted to bring it up. And that's worrying too much about what your friends and fellow brand owners think about your content. And it's so funny because if you've built a brand, I know that you know how important it is to kind of stay in your zone and not be too overly influenced by outside influences. But I feel like with social media, because it's so public, we can sometimes get distracted by that. So of course, take into consideration recommendations from people, but don't let, if a friend tells you, hey, I didn't really understand that video, don't let it overwhelm you and feel like you should change your whole strategy because that one person said something. Which leads us into a good segue for making sure we're trusting our TikTok team. If you're hiring someone for the job, trust them with the process, and obviously make sure you're vetting the people and selecting the right person to represent your brand. But once you have selected that person, really trust them with the process because, I mean, that's especially for us with Cross Group, everyone that we are hiring to work with us, it's so important that we hire people that are TikTok creators, that are influencers in some form themselves, because in order to really understand TikTok, you need to be in the trenches creating TikToks on a daily basis. I mean, even though this agency has kind of become, my bread and butter, something I'm doing on a consistent basis, I'm still creating TikToks every day because if I stop, I'm not going to fully understand what's going on the platform. So I think that's great advice as well. If you are looking, hey, maybe we should hire somebody to really take the next step on TikTok, I'd recommend making sure that they are creating content themselves because there's no real other way to understand the platform and how quickly it changes. And number 9, not repurposing your content on other platforms is a big one. I know there's a debate of, hey, should we post the same stuff on Instagram and YouTube? I know in the past it was very good idea to have everything very different. And of course, you want to make them a little bit different if you can, but there's no problem in repurposing those exact videos from TikTok on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. Me personally, I mean, you can go on my profile as well. I post all of the same content on the platforms at different times. One week I'll post it on TikTok, and then the following week I'll repost it on Instagram or YouTube Shorts. And the amount of times where something flops on TikTok and then ends up getting some traction on Instagram or YouTube Shorts happens quite often. So we don't know how the platforms will react to our content. So being confident enough to post them on other platforms is a great idea. And now some final thoughts to leave with you guys. Number 1, the algorithms changed. What works today will not work tomorrow. It might not work in a week. You can copy a content creator's profile exactly. I've had creators copy my profile identically, and the videos just don't perform exactly the same. You need to find what works for you. Of course, take influence from other different things that you see on social media, but find your patience and really focus on figuring out what works for you. Invest in organic community building. This is really important, especially because I really feel that this is a really important moment in time for us that TikTok is offering us such incredible organic reach. And I mean, I've seen it change significantly compared to when I first started to today. That's even declined, but it's still an incredible opportunity. And what we're getting for free today, I'm very confident in a year and 2 years, we're going to have to pay for that sort of organic reach because it's what we've seen. It's happened on Instagram, it's happened on Facebook, and it's going to happen on TikTok. So taking advantage of it right now, it's not too late. If someone says, oh, no, no, you're missed out on the opportunity, there's still time for TikTok, but the time is now, and I'm not sure how much time we actually will have. Hiring a TikTok manager and creator with experience, like I mentioned, it's important to have somebody on your team that is in the trenches, is creating on a consistent basis in order to fully understand how the platform is evolving. Be social on social media. I think this is one of the most important things for building a community. We get so caught up in the business side and the virality of things. Remember to respond to all the comments on your posts. Show your audience that you actually care. Engage with them. Randomly show up on when you're scrolling through your For You page. Take the time to comment on a random person's profile if you're interested in the content, especially if there's influencers. Instead of just bombarding influencers and copying and pasting your messaging, take the time to find who you feel really connects with your brand and leave them a comment, like their profile before you actually engage with them. It sounds obvious, but be a person, be human, build friendships the way you would go about your life in daily life. Think about that on social media. You wouldn't just run up to somebody and say, hey, I want you to do this for me. You'd talk to them, you'd build a relationship and see if you connect, if there's any relationship there. So remember to do that on social media as well. And lastly, don't obsess over micro numbers. I know it's discouraging that we spend so much time and put so much energy into videos and sometimes they don't do well. Remember that we need to focus on the macro. You're going to have in your, let's say you're doing your 6-month test, you're going to have months or weeks where numbers go down, where you may lose followers. I had a month where I lost over 3,000 followers, and it's not because I sucked that month or I didn't know what I was doing. It's just that's the way things are, and sometimes there's not a definite answer why these things go up and down. But if you ask any influencer, it goes up and down in waves, and you will grow. It's not a linear growth scale. So just remember to look at the overall macro when you're analyzing what's working for you, and don't get discouraged if you had a bad month. This is a long-term game, and if you're looking for some quick virality, this is really not the presentation that I'm not the presentation for you. This is really about long-term growth, finding people who care about your brand, and focusing on actually building content that brings value to people as opposed to doing something overly gimmicky that's going to drive a whole bunch of views towards your profile. This is about long-term growth. And before we move on to the Q&A, I just want to say thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm going to try and answer as many questions as possible, but if you have anything that gets missed, my email is located down below. You can send me a DM on Instagram. If you have any questions, even about the agency side of things, about Cross Group, send me a message, and you can find more information on my website.
Thank you so much. That was such a good presentation. I think everybody, well, I can tell everybody really enjoyed it because there's a ton of questions in the Q&A.
Awesome.
So
I'm excited.
let me just scroll the top and find, let's see. So one of them got 2 likes, so I'm going to do this one. So
Cool.
Akane asks, should I keep our brand TikTok account a personal account so we have access to copyrighted music?
That's a great question. Honestly, I've gone back and forth with this. I feel like this is a subjective call. To be honest, I would keep it to a business page because I feel like you get access to certain analytics, and just overall establishing it as a business page is better, I think, for the algorithm overall. In terms of using, because you still want to use some of the trending sounds. So if you do a search, get the name of the sound that you're looking for that doesn't happen to be available to you, type it into the search bar. There's a lot of profiles that are known as like sped up accounts, and they'll take the trending sound and they'll speed it up. So it like bypasses the algorithm so it doesn't get flagged, but you could still use the similar sound. Also look for people covering the sound. Often we'll use covers of sounds that honestly sound exactly the same. And I know some people will be like, oh, well, will it get as much organic reach because it's not the official sound? That's up for debate. But at the end of the day, I think it's really the content that's going to help you with getting some of your content seen. I don't really believe in like these hacks and some of these tricks. As long as you're making great content, I don't think it's a loss to be using some of these sped up versions or some of these covers.
So this is a good segue then for another one of the questions that we got. So you mentioned trending sound, and unfortunately our sound wasn't working. But I did tell everybody that they're going to get a copy of this presentation so they can watch it on their own. But maybe you can just touch upon what trending sound really is.
Yeah. So a trending sound, if you look on TikTok, there will be kind of the most popular sounds that are being used on the platform. So in a nutshell, that's what kind of a trending sound is. There's 2 different types. There's ones that are like in the TikTok ranked, where there's like a TikTok top 10 songs. And then there will be trending sounds that you will see on your For You page, which is, there's For You page and there's following, 2 different viewing pages on your TikTok. And those trending sounds will often be created by people who maybe they mashed up 2 different sounds and did a voiceover, but they're a little bit more unique. The trending sounds that are available on TikTok where you're searching and creating a video, that's more music industry. That's more, songs you might see in the charts. Whereas the ones that are in your For You page are more sounds that are user created. Was that the question? What are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that covered it perfectly. What are your top 3 tips for highlighting a company or products that aren't retail?
That aren't retail. I think, again, like I said, I really focus on the big picture. So I know a lot of brands that are exclusively online, they'll start off and they'll be like, hey, I really want to create content, and then we want to drive them to make a sale right away, and always be funneling them, hey, make a sale online, click on the link in our bio. We did a test with testing out the wording for click the link in our bio. And anytime we used that wording, for some reason, we saw the organic reach just completely plummet. So if you are looking to funnel people to click on the link in your bio, we like to say follow the arrows on our profile. We saw that was a better return because it bypassed, maybe they have something that they don't want. I suspect they don't want people to click away from TikTok. So when you say click on the arrows on our profile, just have some arrows emojis on your profile that will click on the link and it'll still get to them. But overall, I would say still treat it as we want to bring value to people on the platform. Try and educate them as opposed to feeling like, oh no, should we funnel them to the link or should we tell them to go to a store? I think big picture, you should focus on what kind of education you can bring to them, what kind of a page, what kind of a voice do you want to be for your industry? And then afterward, you can use some of these call to actions like, hey, click on the arrows on our profile. Um, but I'm someone who wants to hold off on something like that. Like I would really try and focus on what your profile is focused on, bringing to them before you're trying to make a sale, which I get you need to make money for your brand. But as someone who wants to bring long-term awareness to your brand, that's the advice I would give.
Yeah, that's like the main reason why I actually am starting to really love TikTok. It's because it's less salesy and more talking. It's more informative, and you actually feel like you're learning something when you're scrolling. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I also want to like just add to that. I feel like this does lead to sales, but I don't like to think with my sales mind when we're creating content. And I feel like, I mean, you and I know as someone who just scrolls through TikTok, anytime we see an ad, we swipe away. Anything that seems remotely like a commercial, we're swiping away. So I think we really do appreciate those brands who don't do that to us. And
Yeah.
we innately want to purchase from them because they feel like they're someone we can trust.
But we do know that there are advertisements on TikTok and advertisement opportunities on there. One of the questions we got was, how do you even approach advertising, and when and what do you choose to promote, and do you have an idea on what budget maybe to set for a day?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I say for TikTok ads is I always like to test out the creative on TikTok as an organic post before even running an ad.
Mm.
And I feel like TikTok tells you, again, like I mentioned in the presentation, TikTok tells you what it likes and what it doesn't like. So I think the days of like, spending a month on this perfect ad is kind of behind us. I would be testing out multiple pieces of creative that look organic in nature because at the end of the day, if it looks like an ad on TikTok, it's not going to perform well. So I would be posting these organically, and then videos that really take off, looking at those and being like, hey, maybe this is something that is worth investing in. Um, I think in terms of a budget, first off, it obviously depends on what your brand is doing. But if you have a limited budget, um, I would focus on, to be honest, if I had a limited budget, I would invest more in how can we get more organic push on our page. I'd invest more in a creator who can help me post more content over pushing an ad on TikTok because I think it's a little bit more short-term thinking if I have a limited budget. I don't know if I feel comfortable saying a specific number, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's okay. And I think
But I
that
hope
means
that
like,
brings enough value for what the question was asking.
I think so. And I think it also just reiterates that quantity over quality, right? Well, not saying that they're not quality, but still
I know
making
what you're
sure that,
saying.
that you're creating enough to keep your profile active.
Absolutely.
Um, how long do you think videos should be typically?
It again, this is where you go down to testing out what works on your profile over a 6-month period. My profile specifically, my videos typically are 12 to 15 seconds. If I get to the 30 range on my profile, it just falls off. I have no idea why. I think it's something that I've trained my audience over time to be used to these quick video samples. Most of our clients, I'd say we stick to the 15 to 20-second range. Again, I only like to use strategies that I've seen work for myself for our clients. So because I've seen so much success with these short form videos, I like to use them for our clients as well. I don't think that like it's impossible to build a following with longer form videos, but I think it's something you really need to test out. And it depends what you're doing, right? If you're doing, hey, we're going to be a recipe page, there's room for a little bit longer videos because people know they're coming to you for a recipe. They want to pause your video. Maybe they're actually making the recipe as they're watching it. So I say go back to testing, but in a personal scale, I'm using 12 to 15 seconds.
What call to action can you use when you don't have enough followers to have a link on TikTok yet? Follow for more?
I would say you shouldn't be giving a call to action if you don't have enough followers yet. Um, I really think you should take the time to really build the following. I think there's a reason why that's like that. I think
Right.
I understand you're a brand and you're like, well, how am I going to sell my products? I
Yeah.
understand that. Um, if you are a business page, you can have access to that link, even if you have a
Okay.
small following. So that's
That's
also
good.
more incentive why you should be a
Mhm.
business page. Sign up for the business page. It'll ask you to input some information about your business, like when you registered it, I think the business number, that sort of stuff. Then
Mhm.
you'll get the link in your bio. But I don't recommend saying, hey, make a purchase right this second when we have such a small following.
Yeah, but it makes sense then. Just use the business side, create a business account,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
and then
Absolutely.
do that for sure. Okay. We only have a couple minutes left. Another question is TikTok the place for a professional brand? We know
Absolutely.
there's a lot of like newer, younger brands. What about more professional based brands?
Yeah, I think that this question goes along the lines of, hey, TikTok is a little bit more relaxed. Like I said, it's going for a drink or having a coffee with your audience. But by no means do I feel like it's unprofessional if you have a professional brand to be on TikTok. Um, Maybe 4 years ago when I started, if you asked me that question, I would be like, you know what, it's a little bit not ready for your brand. But at the same time, especially now, if you don't feel like it's become more professional, which I think it has, the organic opportunity for you to grow a business is just such an opportunity now that I think it would be a real mistake to ignore TikTok. Um, I really believe, regardless of what your brand is, if you happen to be in this chat, you're not in the food space at all, but you're interested in TikTok, it's a real big opportunity. And again, I don't know how much time you will have to build it. Um, you don't have to do craziness. You don't have to make videos being silly, right? You can be professional. There's lawyers on TikTok. There's doctors on TikTok. Do a search for some of the things that you feel are professional, and you'll find a lot of professional content. Real estate agents, people making a real living using TikToks. So yeah, do a search for those things that you're afraid maybe aren't professional, and you'd be surprised at what you'll find. The searchability on TikToks, again, I think it's better than Google. So take a look and it'll really help you.
That's a great tip, and also just gives you a lot of good inspiration for when you start creating your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I think this is the last question. What do you think of the new Be Real app, which is supposed to be more real?
I have heard of the Be Real app. Um, I've seen a lot of apps come and go over the last few years, and I like testing things out. Um, I like making a profile and dabbling with it, but I wouldn't say like, hey, let's go all in on these platforms. It's good to be knowledgeable about everything that's out there, and there's always something you can learn from it. But I feel like the fact that that's even been created, I feel like it's just another take off of TikTok that we really want to see the most authentic selves. I mean, the days of we don't see people posting on Instagram a whole bunch of Ferraris and Lamborghinis and this like artificial life anymore. That's not really what's selling. Brands aren't signing these super rich and exotic brand representatives the way that they used to. I really feel like people are looking to invest in real people. I mean, look at the biggest creator on or one of the biggest creators now on TikTok. Her name's Charlie D'Amelio. She really took off, and she's just a normal person. She doesn't have, I think she's 17 years old or 18 years old, and it really says a lot about the platform that all of the main large creators on TikTok are just real people who um, just seem authentic to viewers.
Yeah, which is why I think the platform is really starting to take off. One last question. It just came in. Can you
Sure.
tag other accounts and have it show up on both profiles as a collab, like on Instagram, on TikTok yet?
No, you can't, as far as I know. I think you're talking about like the collaboration post. Now, if I post something on my Instagram profile, I can tag you, and then it's on both of our profiles. You can't do that right now. I would be really shocked if Instagram didn't do it. I feel like Instagram and TikTok are in a competition of who can steal first from each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if that appeared on TikTok. But currently, I believe that's only an Instagram feature.
Okay. Thank you so much for your insights, and thank you to everybody that joined us today. We will be following up with a video or with the recording of this in your inbox, and we'll be sending along the presentation so you guys can all listen to the great TikToks that you weren't able to actually hear during this presentation. So thank you again, Dre. It was so insightful, and can't wait to go follow you on TikTok.
Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. Thank you to everybody who took the time to listen to this presentation. And yeah, if you have any questions, send me a DM. I'd love to talk.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.